welcome to another breaking news to me. I messed up the emphasis there, but it's okay. It's definitely not anywhere close to Valentine's Day anymore. But I gave you a Valentine's Day gift anyways, because no one else will. I also did not receive anything, but it's okay. My gift was making my little stories, so I'm still cooler than you. I swear this is ironic. Anyways, today we're talking about episode 11, See You at Work, and episode 12, What Can't You Do? So, first off, I think there's been a rather significant update. So let's talk about visuals first. Some small changes have been made to Kai's animation model, and one really big change to Venus's model, which is that I completely redrew and re-rigged her model, because of course I did. But some of the smaller details include chains added to the rose on her necktie, a different cut on her coat, kind of like a vampire cut, and a corset ribbon lacing on the front, with a gold trim and gold beads hanging from the end. Also, this is detachable, isn't that neat? And you can't see this in the episode, but I added a little heart charm to her shoe, and this is a version of her with gloves and bows. For Kai, I added some gold trim, redrew some small accessories, gave him a new shirt with a fancy smancy two-toned collar with ruby buttons and cufflinks, and light blue stripes. I gave him a new vest and redrew his eyes as well, pretty much his entire face. I also gave him more muscles on his arm, but let's not talk about that. His model was also completely re-rigged. Also, re-rigged, for anyone who may not know, just means I redid his animations basically. I cannot tell you how much of a struggle it is to give guys an interesting outfit. It really does not help that my 14-year-old self just decided that peak character design was just some guy with black hair, brown eyes, and a suit. It's okay. I'm sure his personality of cold and brooding will really help differentiate him from other characters. We're not going for originality here, we're going for soul, okay? Anyways, later on in this episode, the color theory is expressing itself. Wow! So, Kai originally is in the cool light of the elevator. He's alone, he must be thinking that everyone else has gone home, and it's back to his solitude for the rest of the night. But then he sees Venus, and she's shrouded in this blue light as well from the laptop and the dimly setting sun. We see her in this almost like distressed and saddened state as she tries to figure out what to do. Honestly, this scene is a lot like Kai in episode 10. When Kai talks to her, he's in between that blue light and the warm light of the sunset. And I think it would be fitting to say that represents their two grievances and their ability to confide in one another so far. Kai has suffered the loss of a dear friend, and actually confided in Venus about that. Obviously, Venus has told him her literal entire story and found comfort in something that's brought her pain for so long. It's the sunset in the blue light. It is the warmth of a fire in the Arctic. Or simply put, it's the good and the bad. This also ties in well to the special scene after, where they're both in this blue light, or together in any sadness. This is a relatively short episode, but I think it's very quaint, and it sets the obvious tone for what's to come. Let's get into the second segment, writing. Once again, a majority of this episode is pretty straightforward, so let's start at the scene where Lance is mentioned. When Kai is telling Venus the name of the client, Tom Lance, he hesitates on the last bit. Quite obviously, because the client shares the same name as his friend Lance. Like I've said before, sometimes all it takes is just the sight of someone's name to feel hurt. I think it's an interesting contrast between Kai and Venus, because the names that pain Venus are out of kind of like anguish, fury even. But for Kai, it's like pure sorrow and regret. It's something that would warrant a much softer reaction, a kind of resigned sigh, while Venus might have a more aggressive reaction, a tense body and furrowed brows. Anywho, Jaeon notices this, and I feel like he sort of says, "Lance, huh?" as a way to comfort Kai, like saying, "You're not alone, I'm thinking of him too." When Venus informs Jaeon and Jin that she knows about Lance, they're kind of taken aback. Because like they say, I can't imagine this is something Kai talks about a lot. It must be hard to. After all, when you do talk to someone about it, you can't help but know what they're thinking. Like, what do I say to that? It's easier said than done to know that someone doesn't want to be comforted or consoled or given advice, but I feel like actually doing that and just listening is difficult. And there's also that other feeling of like, if I tell them, what difference is it gonna make? I don't think their pity is gonna make me feel better, because you get confused. You think that you want their pity and that's why you're going to tell them. But you actually just want to be comforted. But yeah, Kai doesn't get that. And listening, I think, is difficult because sometimes you really want to help them because you're their friend. That's what you do. You want them to feel better, and maybe you feel like listening just isn't enough and you become worried. Overall, this kind of topics is very difficult for everyone involved. I can also see Kai as a sort of overly considerate person. He specifically won't talk about it because he knows what kind of situation it puts everyone in, which is why he wouldn't even talk about it to Jaeon and Jin, despite them also grieving. He is a quiet sufferer. And we finally find out why Kai lied in episode 2. As Venus says, he lied because it'd be, in his eyes, too pitiful to bring up once again. Then later that day in episode 12, Kai and Jaeon have a conversation. And Kai reveals that he gave Venus an especially difficult task as tough love and to encourage her to persevere on. I feel this is almost a way for him to express his care for her. He's already picked up on things that everyone else might have missed about her. He knew that she wasn't all 100% confident. Now onto Easter eggs. In the second scene in episode 11, we can see a vase with sunflowers. Yes, I say vase and not vase, even though I'm supposed to be from Australia. Now, I just wonder who this represents, huh? I guess we'll never know. I'd like to imagine the sunflowers are something that Kai goes out of his way to keep in the office in memory of Lam. And also a photo of the city that I took hanging on the wall. And I'm sure you're just dying to know. Oh yes, what's this very distinguished plant in the background? And also she's definitely baiting us because she's using this phrasing that acts like I care. Well, my intelligent, observant, oh, here's a gold star, look at you, viewer. My dignified and refined inspiration for this lovely specimen, the plantae, I think that's a scientific name for it, is those plants you see in shopping centers. Yeah, I was kidding. I've got no idea what this plant is. I just know it was a pain to draw because I drew those stupid leaves. Each of them. That wasn't a brush. I wanted it to look a certain way, so I painstakingly did it manually. Artistic expression, people. It's not fun sometimes. Also on this desk we have a little stack of paper reading, breaking! Sylvia Jade has been found dead in a lake by Solaris Star Bridge. A star's death taking place at one of the largest cultural landmarks in Solaris will surely leave an everlasting grief. I did not remember the fact that I made this about her murder, and I realized, ooh, this is really dark. I made it at like a really important place in Solaris. Wow, that's evil. Okay. In episode 12, Kai gets out of the elevator at 6:37 p.m. Of course, all the 7s. What is this, bingo? When Kai gets out of the elevator, we can see that it's displaying level 14, 7 plus 7 equals 14, yada yada yada. Also, this is flipped because it's a mirror. I swear I didn't just flip it for no reason. And this level is consistent with his business card that you have never actually properly seen in an episode, but it's fine. Don't ask me the layout of the office. Also, just a fun fact, the typing sound here is again a recording of me typing because I deemed the sound effect from the YouTube library too slow. Sorry, whoever made that. I also made the elevator ding sound effect. And that is all for this episode of Breaking News to Me. I still did not do the emphasis right. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next actually before I go, I do want to say I'm probably going to delay the next episode of News to Me by like a significant amount of time because I'm doing special things for that episode. So I'm gonna work on the other one in the meantime, and then I will come back probably with more episodes, like a little episode fairy who leaves episodes under your pillow. I sound like an insane person. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!